the Ohio State Buckeyes. Their win total is set at 10.5. They're plus 125 to win the Big Ten, minus 1,000 to make the college football playoff. So it's pretty much a lock. Plus 350 to win the title. Ohio State has been one of the most successful teams in college football recently, but they have watched their neighbors over in Michigan actually take over and be the national championships. And they've won 3 Big Ten titles in a row. Is this the year that Ohio State wins that rivalry game and gets back to the Big Ten title game?
In terms of rivalry game, I think it is just the combination of Ohio State really going all in this year and loading up, and then Michigan being a little bit down, just regressing after winning the title and losing so much. It makes sense that Ohio State will win that game and be one of the teams in Indy in the Big Ten title game, especially now no divisions in the Big Ten, so it's the two best teams in the standings, and that'll help a team in the Big Ten East or the old Big Ten East, where it used to be East versus West, and the West never really was competitive. But now two of those teams can make it, and then you add in Oregon, and it seems like that's kind of the four that looks most likely to at least go to Indy. But back to Ohio State, this team's absolutely loaded. They return a lot of players from their roster last year. They went into the transfer portal and added a lot of guys, really good high end talent. But there is a lot of pressure on Ryan Day, and Ryan Day is faced the music in Columbus because he hasn't been able to beat Michigan, even though he's been very successful. And in terms of just having beat Michigan the last 3 years, he has had success against Michigan, but that was all before 2020. I think one move that he made that's going to be huge for him is going out and getting his good friend from New Hampshire, Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was the coach of New Hampshire, and when Ryan Day was the quarterback, and Chip Kelly was, of course, the head coach at Oregon once upon a time. He was most recently the head coach of UCLA, who was moving to the Big Ten. And even though he's the head coach of a Big Ten school, Ryan Day convinces him to come be his play caller in Columbus. I think that's just a kind of a huge get and kind of shows how serious Ohio State is in competing this season. The other big change, Kyle McCord is out. I know they weren't too happy with how he played
Yep.
last year and kind of held back Ohio State, a team that still went 11-1 the regular season, but couldn't beat Michigan in the final game. They go out in the transfer portal, get Will Howard from Kansas State. There's also guys from last year's roster in that quarterback room, and they also have a couple true freshmen, most notably Julian Sayin. So definitely interesting there, but it does seem like Will Howard will get the first shot. And I kind of like Will Howard personally. I know that a lot of people don't think he's a quarterback that can win a national title, but with all the talent around him in Columbus, I think that he just needs to be average and kind of run that offense and just get the ball to the playmakers or the running backs, because they have Junkins and from Ole Miss, and Henderson returns. They have a great true freshman quarterback in Jeremiah Smith, who joins a wide
Mhm.
receiver room that's very experienced. I will say with their schedule, it's a little tricky just because you have to play all of the other big three teams with Michigan to end
Yeah.
the season, and then of course you have trips to Oregon and Penn State. But non-conference is really easy, so they'll be able to get acclimated to this schedule. I do expect them to make the Big Ten title, but I think they're priced correctly and maybe just a tad overvalued in the market in terms of those futures at plus 350 to win the title and plus 125 to win the Big Ten on Bally Bet, just because there is a kind of a big quarterback question mark on this team.